Welcome to this presentation on converting face-to-face courses for online delivery. You are to be commended for embarking on a course of professional development that will provide you with the skills for delivering your instruction with 21st century methodologies. I began teaching online in 2003 and continue to do so each year during the 6-week summer session. In 2007, I converted my fall and spring semester face-to-face courses into a hybrid format. So I think I understand your questions and possible apprehensions, but I can assure you that JMU has in place all of the technical support that you will ever need to be successful. It has been said that one who knows the why of life can cope with any how. So why teach online? From an institutional perspective, online delivery of instruction is equated with being a 21st century institution. Online delivery of courses frees physical space for continuing to offer traditional classroom instruction, and online delivery expands the number of course offerings. From a student perspective, online courses allow students to pursue goals that might be limited or impossible if one were required to meet regularly in an on-campus classroom. And it is unlikely that online courses would conflict with one's schedule of traditional face-to-face classes. From an instructor's perspective, online delivery of instruction is an opportunity for continuing professional development. At JMU, you will have expert technical support for incorporating innovative instructional technologies into your delivery of instruction. And through online courses, you will provide students with opportunities for furthering their self-regulation of learning. Thinking from the perspectives of instructor and students, can you deliver 15 weeks of course content in 8, 6, or 4 weeks? With today's technologies, you probably can. But can students learn 15 weeks of course content in 8, 6, or 4 weeks? Note, the question is not, can students pass the course? The question is, can students learn that amount of content in that amount of time? Let's consider reductions in real time for a course that typically is offered in 15 weeks, being offered in 8 weeks, or 6 weeks, or 4 weeks. Approximating in-class time for 8, 6, and 4-week courses with the 15-week version meets the State Council of Higher Education in Virginia requirements. But does it meet the requirements for lifelong learning? The first principle of learning is an outcome of psychological research of the uniquely human processes of learning and memory. Learning is stratified, simultaneously occurring cognitively and neurologically. This is the brain-mind duality. For every cognitive function of the mind, there is a corresponding neurological function in the brain. Through systematic study with laboratory mice, we now know the importance of individual experience for brain development. In condition B, food was readily and easily available to the mice. In condition A, mice could smell the food, but had to navigate a maze in order to obtain the food. See the greater elaboration of dendrites at the extremity of the neuron for mice in condition A. How do these findings about brain development in mice relate to online instruction? In condition A, the individual experience of the mice obtaining the food by navigating the maze resulted in significantly greater brain development. The condition A mice were information processors. The less developed condition B mice were information receivers. For optimal student development, all courses, including online courses, must afford students time for individual processing of information into personal knowledge. A related finding of this research is that although the condition B mice, the information receivers, eventually approximated the brain development of the condition A mice, the information processors, it took the condition B mice much longer to do so. When designing online courses, instructors must adjust the amount of content to allow time for students to individually process information.
Okay, you can start whenever.
A second principle of learning is that learning requires repetition. One trial learning, that is, learning with only one viewing or one hearing, is not a characteristic of human learning. Returning to the laboratory study of the relationship between experience and brain development, it was observed that the repetition of continuing to obtain food by navigating the maze maintained the brain development of mice in condition A. When designing online courses, instructors must allow students time for repeated practice of relevant skills and knowledge. In a study of the retention of Spanish by non-Latino adults, people who had taken Spanish 50 years previously retained almost as much vocabulary and syntax as people who had taken Spanish 3 years previously. Also, those who had taken Spanish 50 years previously, the ones who earned an A in the course, retained more vocabulary and syntax than those who took Spanish 1 year previously but earned a C in the course. The most important factor in adults' memory is not how long ago they studied, but how well they initially learned Spanish. Online courses should be designed to facilitate lifelong learning. When designing an online course, give consideration to the following guidelines. Incorporate the principles of learning. Learning is stratified, and learning requires repetition. And then, from the perspective that most undergraduate courses are introductions to the field of study, include representative content, skills, and experiences. This slide presents the components of my 15-week fall and spring semester hybrid section and my 6-week summer online section of Psych 160 Lifespan Human Development. Both the 15-week hybrid course and the 6-week online course provide students with a representative introduction to development across the human lifespan. In the 15-week hybrid section, the face-to-face lectures supplemented the web lectures. In the 6-week online section, the portfolio is reduced by 1 unit, and 4 tests replace the 5 quizzes and 2 tests in the hybrid section. JMU's instructional technologists will introduce and instruct you in the use of a variety of technologies for online courses. You might find introductory course-specific videos to be useful. Narrated online PowerPoint lectures are an essential component. Consider instructional podcast and podcast for providing supplemental content. Blogs, social media, and discussion boards are useful for engaging students. And Blackboard Collaborate enables synchronous instruction. With reference to these instructional technologies, I offer this advice. Begin deliberately by incorporating and becoming proficient with a few selected technologies. Over time, you can enhance your course with additional technologies that facilitate achievement of your instructional goals. In conclusion, I wish you well as you engage in the professional development that will enable you to deliver 21st century teaching and learning.